OBS has decided to change how the audio thing looks. You know what? I actually kind of prefer it this way.
That's good.
It used to be side to side, now it's up and down.
Hmm.
Feels more fitting for audio readings. Anyway, yes, it has been a while. What, been like 2, 3 weeks?
Yeah, something along those lines.
To answer your question, it's been fine. Um, I would definitely say with no amount of hesitation, don't pop into it. Don't start Gran unless it's during their anniversary thing.
Wasn't planning on it.
Well, yeah, I don't mean for you specifically. I'd
But yeah, you're just
just.
speaking in general terms.
Why does everything look different right now? Did, did the did the saturation and hue of reality just suddenly decide to change? Also, dear God, I gotta fix that second monitor. Holy fuck, that is that is some contrast, um, or lack thereof.
Hmm.
Anyway, yeah, I would not recommend starting it unless there was an anniversary. Unironically, with how many like full teams you need, because if you don't have at least half of a team for each element, you're just fucked.
Thanks.
You need at least something for each element, unless you get one of those characters that's just like, oh, I'm going to do all of the element,
Hmm.
like Narmaya.
Yeah.
And even then, it's still not ideal, based off because of how they set up your stats.
Hmm.
So basically, what they have it set up for is you essentially have a grid of 4x4, I think, and you can put a weapon into each node. And each weapon has its effect. It has its baseline stats of health and attack rating. And oh my god, the health scaling. The amount of effort I have to put just to get over 10k is astonishing. It is the exact opposite of Relink. Because every single one of my elements easily surpasses 20 thou.
Uh-huh.
I think my earth element, or no, my wind element exceeds 70 in attack value. I want to say my fire is at like 50 something. The lowest one is water, and that's 21,000.
All right.
Literally only my earth build, up until recently, was over 10k. And that still required some effort. I had to get lucky with a couple summons. Which, I mean, I did, but, well, there's a reason why, outside of a great deal of effort and the assistant summon, my builds don't go over 1,000 health. Don't go over
Yep.
10 thou health. Mind you, after paying attention a little bit more, I can probably change that. But still. Yeah, no, complete opposite in in from the gotcha to relink. I've basically completely stopped rolling because in order to actually guarantee the ability to get a character that I want, I need to roll 300 times.
That excessive.
A tad excessive, yes. Oh yeah, also during the anniversary and a couple other things, I presume a couple other things, the drop rate for higher rarity characters is increased to a whopping
Yeah, so pretty
6%.
much you had a lot of things happen all at once to help you start.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure if it was specifically just because it was like, oh hey, celebrating, Relink's anniversary at the same time, or if that's just how the anniversaries are. Honestly, if that's just how the anniversaries are, I see no reason to engage in the rolling system outside of specifically then.
Yep.
Because, unironically, that's the only time where I'm ever going to get anywhere close to guaranteeing any character. So, it's not bad. As far as the gotchas go, I'd say it's better than Honkai, for the most part. If we're just talking about turn-based functionality. That's not really saying much, I know, but still. Every character has more than one ability.
Yeah, that's a pretty big increase.
Yeah, instead they have 3. Except for a couple who have 4. Those are few and far between. Also, remember how I said I wasn't sure how much of a silver lining being able to guarantee the Eternals was?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's not a silver lining. No, that's just not a fucking silver lining. Oh my fucking god. You think the Terminus weapons are bad in this? Everything that requires you to fuck around with weapon upgrades.
Oh, fun.
Okay, so basically there are 2 types of weapon upgrades in GranBlue.
Uh-huh.
There's the normal one, where, you just uncap it and you level it. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's mundane, it's relatively fine. The single biggest damper on it is the XP, which is actually unironically worse. Yes. You think the 150 large crystals in this is bad? Try GranBlue. At least for all the weapons in Relink, the cap is 150. You cannot say that about everything in the gotcha. A lot of them go over 200. Just think. Anyway, so there's that, which is the mundane one.
Mm-hmm.
That one's fine. Almost all my weapons are stuck at 40 and will be stuck at level 40. Because I'm a fucking cheapskate and I'm not going to be using my Damascus ingots. Especially when I have 6 builds of 20 some odd weapons or something like that. Needless to say, I'm going to be a tad frugal. But yeah. Oh my god, the Eternal weapons. So there's the normal upgrading for them, but then there's like 10 special upgrade levels that are specifically for the process of actually obtaining the Eternal in question. And also, I've looked at the rankings for where the Eternals land.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like a quality character is concerned, that most of them don't even get to 9.5 out of 10. Most of them are at 9. So yeah. Fortunately, after doing one of the side stories, you can get one of them for free. So I got Seox. Because he's one of the few that's actually just good.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I didn't need him, but I wanted him. But yeah, right now they're doing the Unite and Fight event, which is basically the, hey, get the Eternals weapons event.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on the track to upgrade, to fully upgrade my second one.
All right.
Mind you, this is not upgrade to unlock the Eternal, this is upgrade to start unlocking the Eternal.
Ah.
Because you need to fully cap out the weapon, and then fully upgrade it to level 100 before you can even start unlocking the Eternal. Which is, again, 10 upgrades or something like that.
That's quite a bit to do to have
And
to
if you
get
want
one of
all of
them.
the Eternals, you have to do that 10 times.
Yeah, no.
So, mind you, 4 weapons in total.
Yep.
All the upgrade resources to get each one to level 100. And then all the shit to unlock the Fate episodes. To upgrade the weapon in order to actually unlock the Eternal, which you only get at its full level.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Silver lining, it was not. Especially when I have a full team for every character. Also, my Sandalphon is almost capped out.
All right.
Level-wise, I mean. Holy crap, the characters that go to level 100. They take a while to level up.
You don't say.
Mind you, I'm not using any level up resources, I'm not using any books.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how long it would have taken if I had gotten him during the 12 times multiplier portion. Probably about 12 times less. But yeah, as for Sandalphon, yeah, there's a reason why pretty much every character in that has become a fan favorite. I can see why.
Mm-hmm.
Also, can we just address how you thought Beale was a woman?
He really does look like a really buff one, though.
Okay, in your defense, he does have the build of a giraffe if it were a male giraffe. So I can kind of see he. Okay, so one of his in-game portraits is him completely naked emerging from a pool of water, and oh my god, he looks fabulous. So you know what? I can forgive you for that. Because unironically, he looks fucking fabulous in that still. Also, that summons effect charms everyone on the field, including you.
Ah.
Which, by the way, denies your character a turn.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you have the cat dragon. Then it does nothing to your team. Don't question that. Just accept that the cat that is a dragon just makes your entire team immune to charm. It also applies charm to your entire team, because cat.
Yep.
Very fluffy cat. It was very entertaining reading the some of the dragons' kits. I'll get into that later. But yeah, I can see why every character in What Makes the Sky Blue got popular.
Mm-hmm.
Sandalphon was a great villain for the first one. He really pissed off the other four archangels.
Mm-hmm.
Understandably, he did kind of clip their wings.
Yeah.
Which actually
Yeah.
isn't even true. He kind of didn't get two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, no. He failed to get one of them. Mostly due to your intervention. He also nearly killed Gran.
Yep.
Not by actually killing him, but just by pushing him off a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
And when he did that, he said, "Your fingers are so delicate." And throughout the rest of your interactions with him, you can respond to literally every single one of his inquiries with that exact line.
Huh.
Every time you save him, and you're holding his hand, you can just have Gran say, "Your fingers are so delicate." And it's so fucking... I loved it. You can guess that it's what I picked every time.
Yep.
It was great. And so not in character.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm really fucking bitter about you pushing me off a cliff and requiring literally God to save me. Which, yes, is what happened. The Archangels were too fucking slow, so Liara and Vern had to fusion dance and summon Bahamut.
Wow.
Not actual Bahamut. Not like, the pissant ant Bahamut that we're used to. That summons that Dark Swordsman. Not that pissant. No, proper Bahamut, proper. The god.
Mm-hmm.
And no, despite the fact that he basically got a joyride on God's back, no one knows how Gran got back up on the island. It's just like, Liara and Vern just complained a little, got really angry, and then Gran just sort of got, why is he just laying there? How did that happen?
Neat.
Yeah. So that's how the first one ended.
Okay then.
And obviously, Sandalphon was none too pleased. And then Lucifer came. And was like, "Hey, yeah, sorry about my clone being a dick." And me sort of ignoring him, and by proxy being kind of responsible for all of this. Because I ignored him, I'm gonna go put him in a corner. And he unironically literally puts Sandalphon in the corner. It's a corner in literal paradise, so, it's not that bad, but...
Yeah, but
still.
the point remains.
Lucifer is literally just comes down and is like, "Hey guys, thanks for dealing with my clone. I'm sorry he decided to be an asshole." And then proceed to apologize for him for being a neglectful boyfriend. And then he stuck Sandy in a corner. And proceeded to neglect him further. And then he gets killed. Not in front of
Yep.
you, mind you, like, when the start of the next act happens, he gets killed by Beale, so Well, Lucifer's unironically he's just a great lad. He's just an all-around swell chap.
Mm-hmm.
Damn well near fucking perfect. And he gets fucking decapitated by Beale for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because of course. I don't know how much they're going to take from your short stint against him. Depending on how they interpret it, I imagine it could be a fucking nightmare. Mind you, not a nightmare for characters like Twian, or Sandy, or Yugen, or Narmaya, or Percival, or Id, or how Gal is probably going to be, or B. Hell, probably not even that much of a problem for Yust. Probably will be a nightmare for characters like Charlotta, though. Yeah, to say that he literally solo... But he literally summoned an entire goddamn army. And mind you, an army that was able to keep all 4 of the Archangels occupied, including everyone else. So yeah, that could be a little overwhelming. He's also probably going to have very flowy metal blade wings. That sentence probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but you'll understand when you're stabbed by them. So yeah, Lucifer's final message was really fucking sad. Because he's basically just kind of like sonar pinging out into the world to see if anyone is in, you know, the area, in the lab area. He goes essentially, if anyone is there, I cannot see you, I cannot hear you, I cannot feel you, as I'm kinda dead. And he's saying this all while Sandalphon is just death clutching him to his chest. Well, his head. And he just says, as my penance... Not that. My penance for failing... for failing Sandy, essentially, is death. And he requested that Sandy do what he can to stop the massive death and literal eradication of reality that was about to transpire. And then proceeds to bequeath Sandy his powers as Supreme.
Yep.
So throughout that entire stint is roughly when I was like, why the fuck does Sandy and Relink have the colored wings? Because at that point, all of the Archangels had got their wings back. And somehow Raphael regenerated Gabriel's wings, despite the fact that she sort of kind of exploded hers so that Sandy couldn't get them. Because apparently that was an option.
It works for if you really just want to screw someone else over.
Pretty much, yeah. Apparently it was rather unpleasant.
Yeah.
As one would imagine. You know, she's literally detonating her primary source of power and a major organ. But, yeah, you have fun power tripping with the Primarch's powers for a while. For whatever that's worth. And, you get to find... You get to fight very frequently, mind you, Innuendo Embodied.
Right then.
Also known as Bilal. literally every sentence he says is in some way a sex joke. I don't
Interesting.
think I don't think there was a single line of dialogue he had that was not in some way lurid. It was honestly really impressive. It's really hard to do that, by the way. Making every benign comment, every sentence, not only work perfectly well for the scenario in question, but
Hmm.
also be an innuendo.
Yeah, yeah, that is pretty impressive.
It was amazing. So he's probably going to be like the preliminary uh, to Beals if they decide to go that route.
Hmm.
I kind of think that would make sense, personally. And for the final bit, basically, all of the Lucilius, obviously, he gets his head grafted onto Lucifer's body by Bilal,
Hmm.
mind you, not Bubs. Bilal was the one who did it. So the crew doesn't actually beat Lucilius.
Hmm.
In fact, they barely stand a fucking chance.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He unironically wrecks them.
Hmm.
He also does not fight you. Oh my. The irony of him talking about Sandy and how he's using stolen powers. When Lucilius is literally the Astral's head grafted onto Lucifer's body. And
Uh-huh.
then not only that, he also incorporated the power of his original, which is what resulted in the 12-wing thing. Because he originally only had 6. So yeah, also by the end of it turns out that the whole original dying and, well, being beaten by Lucilius was not in fact because the original just happened to suck. No. It was just the easiest way to ensure that Lucilius was dealt with. Turns out it's a lot easier to suck a guy into a black hole if you're the one who creates the black hole and you're literally fused with his core. Hard for them to fight back against that.
Yeah, yeah.
And yes, that's unironically how Grant's crew lives. Everyone else gets wrecked. Sandolphin barely puts up a fight, but at least puts up more than everyone else. And Grant actually manages to parry, I believe, 3 blows.
Hmm.
3, mind you. Only. Only 3.
Good enough.
I mean, it's more than it was more than Sandy.
Yep.
Sandy just got fucking wrecked. He just refused to stay down like everyone else. But yeah, that's how that went. Anyhow, remember how I said I was going to explain things in words? Now's the time. So, we know how Sandy is essentially a clone of Lucifer, correct? Well, Lucifer is technically a clone of a character currently going by Lucilia, not currently going by Lucio. That's not his actual name. His actual name is Hebrew for morning star. I It's Salem. Dal Shar, I think. Something like that. Whatever. So he was the original, basically created as the right hand of God. The creator-destroyer God who is responsible for everything existing. Mind you, not the one that the characters in this world are familiar with, who is just like Bahamut, but even more. Like, the original, before shenanigans happened and they got split up.
Yeah.
Before the god was forcibly divorced from itself. And then the one that was divorced decided to go make the astral realm and create astrals, and all that came into all that bullshit. No, he was the right created directly from proper God, along with the other one whose name is basically Twilight Dusk, or something else that sounds roughly My Little Pony-esque. Anyhow, that was the original. He was basically the speaker, the person who relayed the Lord's guidance to the filthy masses. And is now currently taking the name Lucio and is enjoying his company with Gran. Because where else would you be if you want to use your powers for the good of the world? Unironically, in this world, Gran's vote is probably the best place to be if that's your end goal. Also, he gets to watch basically all of the world's superpowers just chill in the same room. Where else in the world can you find the current acting Supreme Primarch, all 6 of the elemental dragons, all of the archangels, and also some chick who can summon Bahamut. And they're all just sitting at the same table having casual conversations about the weather. Unironically. Oh, and don't forget the Eternals as well. You know, all 10 of them are there at probably another table.
Huh.
Where else in the world can you find that?
Nowhere.
And also the individual strongest knight of each major kingdom. All 7 of them. There's nowhere else in the world you can find that except Gran's boat. Are you telling me you wouldn't want to listen to the conversation of all of the archangels and the dragons about the weather? I'm just saying, they're essentially all-powerful beings who at the snap of a finger can just decide you don't exist anymore. Not just you, but entire goddamn islands. They can just decide, yeah, I don't like that. It messes with the feng shui of the air here. Bye. Anyhow, that guy's the original. And then, after the cataclysmic, forceful divorce of the god, who then became Bahamut and Bahamut Astral, as I'm going to dub it, Bahamut Astral got real fucking jealous of its original form, and decided that it wanted to make its own Lucio.
Oh.
And so it made Lucilius. And thus Lucilius is a clone who made a clone who is also technically a clone of a clone. Because Lucifer is a clone of Lucilius as much as he is a clone of Lucio. And then he proceeded to have his clone make a clone, who is then a clone of a clone of a clone of a clone.
Hmm. Such a mess.
That is Sandalphon's existence. It's no wonder his hair color looks different. It's no wonder he has brown hair. You try to clone that many times in a row, and something's gonna go wrong.
Yep.
But yes, unironically, Basilius is literally just half of the OG god, being, oh fuck, I really liked him. I'm gonna make another one. And then proceed to make an asshole version. who then proceeded to make damn well near a perfect replica. Kind of ironic. The god's asshole rendition of its original creation made a better made a better clone of the now split in half god's original clone. Ugh. Their family tree is fucked.
Yes, yes, it is.
Anyhow, now on to the really important topic.